ever feel like there's, just more going on than what we see day to day?
No, definitely.
Well, today we're taking a plunge, a real deep dive into the YouTube transcripts from Carnage 1nOnly.
Mm-hmm.
He's this creator who mixes personal stories, spiritual thoughts, and, well, views on the world in a really unique style.
It's quite something.
Yeah, so think of this as your shortcut, right? We've gone through it all to pull out the main ideas, the key insights for you.
And what jumps out right away is just how raw it is. It's very honest. You see someone really wrestling with personal stuff, but also searching for meaning, for connection.
It's a journey, put right out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's jump into that rawness then, because one of the big takeaways is just how willing he is to share the really tough things, like past suicidal feelings, therapy, feeling like nobody gets him, even struggles with ADHD, addiction. It's pretty intense, like you said.
It is intense, but the insight there, I think, is that the vulnerability isn't just airing pain. It becomes a way to connect. By talking openly about these, what he calls crushing thoughts, it actually creates a space, for other people who might be going through something similar.
So the pain becomes like a lifeline for others.
Potentially, yeah. Pain transformed.
That makes a lot of sense. And it connects to this other idea he puts out there about advice.
Oh, yeah.
That the advice we give is often, like, subconsciously the advice we need.
Yeah. That definitely makes you stop and think, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
About what you're saying and what you're hearing.
Totally. It's a reminder to be mindful, whose lens are we looking through? The advice often reflects the giver's own stuff, their own needs.
Which might not fit your situation.
Exactly. Self-awareness is key. And tied to that is seeing hardships as, well, trophies.
Trophies, okay.
Yeah. Not things to hide, but reminders of your own strength, the battles you've actually won. He even mentions specific years, 2011, 2012, hints maybe at big turning points in his own story.
Adds a layer there. And then there's this quote, it packs a punch. Therapy. My therapist only when I speak to me, only place I ever open up. So please believe in me, believe in you, and see the truth. Only you can make it through. Destiny is met when we accept it's ours to choose.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot in that.
Right.
It really emphasizes looking inward, doesn't it? And self-belief. And ultimately, that sense of agency, like you have the power to choose your path.
Moving from needing outside approval to finding that inner strength.
Precisely. Recognizing your own power, your own choices.
Okay, so that's the personal side, but it definitely doesn't stop there. There's this huge theme of interconnectedness, spirituality too.
Very strong thread.
You keep seeing phrases like, we are all connected, or inner web of consciousness, and even you are the world, you are the universe realizing itself. Big ideas.
And what's fascinating is how many different spiritual or philosophical streams feed into it.
Yeah, like what?
Well, you see references to Sufism, the mystical Islamic tradition focused on inner experience, but then also universal consciousness concepts, figures like Christ, Hermes, Hermetic principles, and even mentions of Neville Goddard, who wrote a lot about belief and manifestation, plus things like as above, so below, yin and yang, the collective unconscious. It's quite a synthesis.
As above, so below. That one definitely stuck out. Can you unpack that a bit? What's the core idea there?
Think of it like a mirror, a mirroring principle. The idea is that the big patterns, the cosmic laws, they're reflected right down here in our individual lives.
So the universe and the individual, they echo each other.
Exactly. And it's not just philosophy. It seems to lead to practical stuff, too, like releasing karmic patterns.
Right, like breaking cycles.
Yeah, becoming aware of those repeating patterns of, say, behavior or consequence and choosing to change them. There's also a lot about choosing love instead of fear and using visualization, tapping into that interconnected reality.
And some really empowering lines tie into this, don't they? Like, you are the portal, or you are a fractal of source.
Yes. Those are powerful. They point to that inherent potential, almost like a divinity within each person, a direct link to the bigger creative force.
It feels like it reframes things, like interpreting biblical stories, not just literally, but as inner journeys. He mentions Moses and the Red Sea as the Red Sea of emotion.
Exactly. It makes these ancient stories deeply personal, symbolic guides for our own inner landscape. Even the idea of God embodying different beings or objects, it's a very immanent view of the divine.
And it touches on I am, which I am. And this idea that down to the molecular level, we are all part of what is, that's Yeah, that's pretty expansive.
It really is. It suggests our whole earthly experience, the good and the bad, it's all part of a learning process, an evolution happening on multiple levels of consciousness.
Okay, so from that really deep cosmic perspective, let's shift back a bit to personal growth. Because resilience, transformation, that seems absolutely central too, bouncing back.
Oh, absolutely. Huge emphasis on free will, on growth. And forgiveness comes up, but in an interesting
How
way,
so?
as giving up hope for a different past.
Uh, Not forgetting, but letting go of wishing things were different.
Exactly, which is incredibly freeing, right? Allows you to actually move forward.
Yeah, I like the image he uses to the Phoenix process,
Mm-hmm.
that trials don't destroy us, they refine us.
Yeah.
And focusing on lessons over loss, even mistakes become compost for growth. That's a powerful reframe.
It really is. And you see the influence again of Neville Goddard's law of assumption, this core belief that what you assume to be true, what you truly believe, actually shapes your reality.
So it connects to talk about rebooting or reprogramming yourself.
Precisely. It suggests we're not just passive recipients. We can actively change our inner landscape, our beliefs, and that affects everything.
And this plays out in relationships too, it seems. There's a focus on self-respect. That line, sometimes people leave because your light is too honest for their own inner shadows.
Oh. Yeah, that resonates. It speaks to being authentic and also accepting that not every connection is meant to last, especially if you're growing.
And this focus on self-reliance too, like even if what you release doesn't come back, you are still the prophecy.
Right. It reinforces that inner strength, that you are enough in yourself. You also hear moments in the lyrics that sound almost like prayers, seeking forgiveness. But then alongside that, this really strong statement, I need me.
I need me. That's powerful self-compassion.
Isn't it? And there's this clear driving desire for change,
Yeah.
to break out of old routines, negative patterns, plus this recurring image of being lost, then found, an affirming inner power, like I got power in my voice.
It all points to this deep commitment to evolving, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Pushing forward despite the struggle.
definitely. A continuous striving.
Okay, and another key thing that really comes through is the power of language itself. Words.
Mm-hmm. That's a big one.
The idea that words are spells or that language manifests reality.
Yeah.
That's pretty significant.
It really leans into the creative power of what we say, what we think, intentionality. The phrase television also comes up.
Television, like television.
Exactly. But playing on the words, the act of articulating your vision, putting it out there, potentially shaping perception, yours and others, through language.
So all part of actively creating the reality you want. Believing that putting out positive energy, positive words, actually creates positive change.
That seems to be the core belief, yes. Consciously choosing your words, directing your energy with purpose. And he even talks about streamlining consciousness into freestyle raps.
Which sounds like a very direct channel, right? From inner thought straight into spoken expression.
A really interesting glimpse into that creative flow, yeah.
Now, it's not just internal or individual, is it? There's a definite sense of community, social awareness bubbling up too.
Yes, definitely. A call to rise as a community, connecting through just being human, beyond borders and stuff.
So a broader perspective, looking at society.
Highlighting the need to help children, framing freedom as a basic natural right, not something governments give you.
And there's some critique in there too, right, of systems that divide people. A push to question authority.
Yes, and this interesting idea about mirroring again.
How so in this context?
That what you see externally, even difficult interactions or societal problems, might actually reflect something back about your own internal state or our collective state.
Okay, so it encourages looking inward even when looking outward.
Exactly, and developing empathy. There's a clear call for kindness, for building a future with justice and truth. Seeing art, music as ways to drive social change, give voice to those often unheard.
And I remember seeing something about ground-up hope as a collective, like a grassroots kind of revolution. But based on honesty, support.
Yes. It really emphasizes the power we have together, especially when we're honest about our struggles or shared vulnerabilities. That builds strong communities.
It's about finding strength together in that shared journey.
Beautifully put, yeah.
So lastly, let's talk about the actual creative stuff. The lyrics, the freestyles. When you look at them as a body of work, what really stands out?
Well, again, just the raw emotion. The vulnerability is right there on the surface. It's compelling.
And the themes we've been discussing.
They're all woven through it. Navigating hard times, finding inner strength, lots of self-reflection, that deep need for connection, questioning the world. It's all in there. You see it in specific tracks like Woe Child, Yesterday, As Rue, Clarity, Clouded Preview, Humankind, What's the Difference? Each one offers a window.
Often brutally honest windows.
Very much so. And it's interesting, you sometimes see a shift, don't you? From a very personal I to more of a collective we.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Suggests that growing awareness of shared experience, maybe. Community.
That's how it feels. That's a key shift. And sometimes you get these like cryptic audio bits. They almost sound like inner chaos being turned into sound, into art.
Alchemy through sound.
Yeah, maybe. But ultimately, the music seems to offer, well, hope, connection, the possibility of transforming things.
So wrapping this all up, this deep dive into Carnage 1nOnly's work, it really shows this incredible mix, doesn't it? Personal struggle, deep spiritual searching, and this real drive for positive change. From himself, but also for the community, for the world.
Absolutely. The whole journey really highlights how powerful creativity and connection can be. It brings that phrase to life, finding a lifeline through turning his crushing thoughts into poetry.
It's a real testament to, I guess, the human spirit's resilience.
Yeah. Facing adversity and still creating, still seeking.
So thinking about all this raw honesty, this spiritual seeking we've discussed, here's something to maybe chew on. What unseen entities, or maybe vampiric traps, as he might put it, what draining forces might you be unintentionally letting into your own life?
Oh.
And maybe more importantly, how can you consciously, actively reclaim your own inner divine spark, your potential?
That is definitely a question to sit with, a powerful one.
Thanks for taking that deep dive with us
we've
today.
got something really interesting from the learner.
They sent us transcripts from 3 mixtapes by an artist called Carnage 1nOnly.
Yeah, I am Hugh, you and I am MI. And what's cool is these are YouTube transcripts.
Right, so it's like a direct line, very raw.
Very raw, yeah. Unfiltered access to his thoughts, his feelings through the lyrics.
So our mission today is to kind of trace the threads through these lyrics. We're looking for, recurring themes, maybe how his perspective evolves across the mixtapes.
And just get a better feel for his mindset, his
Right.
creative process. It's definitely an emotional journey, quite honest.
Okay, let's dive in then. One of the first things that really jumps out, I think, is this heavy theme of time and regret.
Oh, absolutely. It's fundamental, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he tackles it directly. In I Am Hugh, there's that line, just a few things we can't get back was spoken when you're mad the moment once was past once you decide to act.
That specificity about words spoken in anger.
Exactly. It highlights that awareness,
Yeah.
how impulsive words can just hang there, create real consequences. And later he just says it plain. In fact, I got a lot of regrets, things I said that I can't take back.
Yeah, that resonates. Those moments we all have. And it's not just actions, it's also loss, right? That longing.
Yes, that line about the voicemail, I would give it all just to hear the voicemail, hear their voice, and make me feel, well, that's facts.
Wow. It's not just the message, it's the sound of the voice.
Precisely. That sensory connection to memory, to comfort, it really makes you think, doesn't it, about, well, your own reflections on time, maybe voices you miss?
Definitely. Okay, so building on that introspection, there's another really strong theme. Identity. Authenticity. Who am I?
Yeah, a classic artistic concern, but he explores it with real intensity. That line in I Am Hugh, he repeats it, I am who I am, not my past, only I am me can hold me back.
That's like a mantra.
It really is. An assertion of control over his own story,
Yeah.
saying the past doesn't define him forever. It's about agency.
Which is so powerful. But then there's this vulnerability too. He says, because I walk around and nobody knows I am in the same room, but I feel so alone.
Right. That contrast is fascinating. The strong inner sense of self, but then this feeling of like invisibility or disconnection from the outside world.
That gap between how we see ourselves and how others see us.
Exactly. That's a core part of figuring out identity. And then later in You and I, it's simpler, maybe more grounded. What separates me is I'm me.
Just boils it down.
Yeah, tied directly to his art, his unique viewpoint, a kind of bedrock self-belief.
Okay, so we have time, regret, identity.
Yeah.
And layered onto this is struggle, but also importantly, resilience.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really compelling, I think.
Oh, definitely. He doesn't sanitize the struggle at all. Like in I Am Hugh, sick of feeling like I'm fighting through the dark. You feel that weariness, that battle.
It's palpable.
Yeah.
And the vulnerability, I mean, it hurts to breathe. I don't mean that I'm unable. That's, wow. It speaks to such a deep emotional pain.
It really does. But then you see the shift, or maybe another side of it in a memi. I see the beauty in the pain. That suggests finding meaning, maybe growth within the hardship.
A real evolution, perhaps.
It feels like it, and you see him actively trying to overcome things. I gotta overcome it. This monumental problem, try to write to it from I Am Hugh. Using his art, right?
Using the writing itself as the tool.
Exactly. And then this whole ground up idea appears in both You and I and 1nOnly.
Right. Started from the ground up, everything around us, ground up.
And rain was falling around us, they was pouring down, but surprised to see us rose up. It's pure perseverance, rebuilding, rising above.
So moving from internal struggles to external ones. Relationships are another huge and often raw area in these lyrics. Betrayal comes up strongly.
Yeah, intensely. That line in I Am Hugh about the best friend. My best friend sneak around my back, he fuck the mother to my child. How's that? That's big facts.
It's incredibly blunt.
Stark, direct. No shielding from the pain of that specific deep betrayal in a core relationship.
That hits hard. And family stuff is complex too, isn't it? Those letters to mama.
Wanting her to be proud, expressing concern, but also that line, you grew up without a mama, I grew up without a father. It gives you this glimpse into, the family history shaping him.
Adds another layer, definitely. And romantic love, it seems just as complicated.
Oh, for sure. Full of uncertainty. In I Am Hugh, you get these opposites. Love is sorry, babe, I've got to go. And then love is I'll be waiting by the phone. That push-pull.
The instability.
Yeah, and he outright questions it. Know what love is, because what love is thought of being alone, and what love is the fear of the unknown. And then in 1nOnly, that really poignant question about happiness and depression.
Does happiness exist in a man with depression? It seems my whole life I've done it. Pushed them away. Anyone who got close to me was soon in a grave.
Yeah. It suggests this deep fear, maybe a pattern of pushing people away, perhaps linked to that earlier pain and depression.
Amidst all this, though, creativity itself, his art seems like an anchor. Purpose.
Absolutely vital. More than just expression. He calls himself nothing more than an architect trying to keep my art intact in I Am Hugh. That sounds deliberate, careful, like he's building something precious.
Protecting it.
Right. And in You, in I, he says it flat out, music has always been more than just notes and rhythms. For me, it's a lifeline.
So it's how he processes everything.
Yeah.
Makes sense of it all.
Seems like it. And it's not just personal processing. There's this reaching outward, too. Questioning listeners in I Am Hugh. Tell me who's falling. Y'all are just wasting every second. Put your sense in a sentence.
Like a challenge.
A bit, yeah. And then in You, in I, this clearer sense of purpose, one to connect and resonate, resurrect, to embrace everyone and everything, using art to connect, maybe even heal.
That idea of resurrection through art is powerful.
It is. And then 1nOnly has that line, come with me and you'll see that this world is more than creation. We could be what we dream, just create it. It's about the power of creation, shaping reality.
Really aspirational. Okay, finally, let's touch on spirituality and inner strength. It's handled in a really nuanced way, I thought.
It really is. He questions a traditional God in I Am Hugh, right? I don't know if there's a God.
Yeah, but then immediately pivots.
I do know that there are powerful feelings, some music, some what I found in people to helping them. It helped me a lot. So the power isn't necessarily up there. It's in the feeling, in music, in human connection, in service.
Finding the spiritual in the tangible, almost, in the experience.
Exactly. And that ties into this real emphasis on self-reliance, on inner guidance. That line, fuck that I got intuition.
And I ain't gonna pick and waste a dime towards your vision.
Right.
It's something that I couldn't live if I tried to. Trusting his gut.
Deeply. And being his own sponsor, his own first responder, like he says in You and I.
Yeah.
Relying on his internal resources.
And it feels linked to transformation, too.
Yeah, definitely. In You and I mentions things like meditate, let's pray, just a breath away, reinvest and integrate, then the best will be displayed.
Practices associated with inner work.
Right. And feeling reborn, it suggests this ongoing journey, a striving towards integration, becoming whole through that self-awareness and effort.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, we've really covered a lot of ground through Carnage 1nOnly's lyrics from these 3 mixtapes.
We have time, regret, identity, struggle, resilience.
The complexities of relationships, betrayal, family.
And the absolute centrality of creativity as a lifeline, a purpose, plus that search for inner strength, for meaning, maybe outside traditional structures.
It's a very personal window he offers. Very raw, very honest.
The vulnerability is striking. That willingness to put the difficult stuff out there is, I think, a huge part of the power in his work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for you, the learner who sent these in, and for everyone listening, maybe think about how these themes echo in your own life. What are the key moments, the relationships, the creative acts, the artifacts maybe that are shaping your journey?
Yeah, how are you making sense of it all? Carnage 1 only uses his music, this art, to navigate some really complex human territory. It's a powerful reminder of how art can do that, for the artist and for us as listeners, inviting that reflection.
Well, we pull out the key stuff.
Yeah, the goal is to give you, the learner, that quick but solid understanding you're after, those aha moments, without all the noise.
Exactly. And this time, wow, it's a bit different. We're diving into transcripts from the Carnage 1nOnly YouTube channel.
That's right. Specifically, Carnage 1nOnly Inwards, the I Am Hugh mixtape, and the Am I My mixtape. So, spoken word, rap. We're looking for the deeper meaning in the performance.
It's definitely not our usual academic paper, but honestly, I'm really excited to unpack this. It feels very personal. Okay, let's dig in.
Where do we start? What jumped out first?
Well, the first thing, and it's across all three, is this really strong theme of looking inward. Self-exploration, self-discovery.
Oh, absolutely. It's fascinating how consistently the artist circles back to looking inside. It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About where real understanding actually starts.
Yeah,
And for you, the learner seeking knowledge, this idea might really hit home.
definitely. Like in Inwards, you get lines like, open up my mind, let me see the beauty inside. Super direct.
Mm-hmm.
And just look within. Simple, but powerful. Plus that bit about searching. I'm learning that I'm more than a person. Feels like a journey.
A journey, exactly. And that line, you see the universe one way to seek inside. That's quite profound, suggesting the internal reflects the external.
Right. And that connects to how we learn, doesn't it? Those aha moments often happen when something new clicks with what we already sort of feel inside.
Precisely. It's about connecting new dots to your existing internal map.
And it keeps going in, I am Hugh. He says, I am who I am. Not my past, only I am me can hold me back. That sounds like real self-acceptance, wouldn't you say?
I would. It's taking ownership.
Yeah.
And also seeking to listen. That's fact. That implies it's an active thing, trying to hear yourself.
Yeah, not just floating along, but actually like engaging with yourself.
Which is key for learning too, right? Not just passively taking stuff in, but reflecting on how it fits you.
Totally. Then in Emerai, there's that line, come with me and you'll see that this world is more than creation. We could be what we dream, just created. Wow.
That speaks to the power of our own vision, doesn't it?
It really does. And bigger than you, bigger than me and I know, hinting at something beyond just the surface self.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the most direct one. Look inside, outside. Everything is physical and in between the real life.
It's like saying the inner and outer words aren't separate. They're woven together. And for you, the learner, maybe that's a takeaway. Learning isn't just facts out there. It's how they resonate in here.
Yeah, connecting the dots inside yourself. Okay, so building on that inner focus, it's interesting how time and regret come up, especially in I Am Hugh.
Yes, that theme really makes you pause. Lines like, damn time sure is moving fast. Just a few things we can't get back was spoken when you're mad the moment once was past.
Oof. Yeah, captures that perfectly. Things said in the heat of the moment.
And you can't rewind time. That line, just a few things we can't get back. It's repeated, isn't it? For emphasis.
It is. And then, just point blank. I got a lot of regrets, things I said that I can't take back. That level of honesty is pretty raw.
It's so human, though. We all have things we look back on. For you, maybe always looking forward, learning new things. It's a reminder, perhaps.
A reminder of what?
Well, that the past, even the mistakes, holds lessons. Even if you can't undo them, you learn from them.
That's a good point. And the transcripts definitely don't shy away from the hard stuff either. Struggle, pain, but also finding resilience. That's another big thread.
Yeah, and if you zoom out, it paints this really powerful picture of overcoming things. Like in Inwards, the advice to bear your scars or they will take you down far, acknowledging the pain.
Right, not ignoring it.
But then there's hope, too. I thought that the battle would never end, but somehow I learned it again. You can get through it.
Yeah, and I Am Hugh gets really specific about the struggle, being tempted by the temptations, feeling sick of feeling like I'm fighting through the dark.
Mm-hmm. That feeling of isolation, too. I feel so alone behind different people, goddamn heart, so full, but I feel so broke. It's that internal conflict alongside external friction, like arguments.
Nearly paints a picture.
But then Imemai offers this like response, finding resilience in the struggle. I see the silver in the rain. I see the beauty in the pain. I see the love that remains.
Finding the positive even when it's tough.
Exactly. And acknowledging the fear, the entanglement, wanted to be great but mentally entangled, fear to face my fate but faced in all my fails. That's vulnerability as strength.
Yeah.
And that question at the end, even when the scars are too much, yes, it might get worse, but what do you offer, you confession? It feels like confronting the pain head on is part of healing.
Definitely. For you, the learner, facing your own hurdles and learning something new, maybe there's something there. That setbacks are just part of the process.
Recognizing and working through them, yeah.
Crucial. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Another really prominent theme is relationships. Connection, disconnection. It's all in there.
And again, what's striking is just how honest it is. The beauty and the pain, it feels real.
In words, you get the positive side, like, don't be scared to love yourself on a fight, which feels foundational.
Self-love first, right?
And that really direct, baby, I love you, just pure affection.
But I Am Hugh shows the other side, too, the difficulties, the argument, not seeing his kid. That's real pain.
Yeah. And the betrayal. My best friend sneak around my backy. Ouch.
Right. But even then, there's that reach for connection. I promise I will be there if you fall. It's complex. It's messy, like real life.
It really is. And Coming Guy explores that, too. The idea of choosing family. It wasn't blood first. See, it's now thicker than water.
Beautiful line.
And that feeling of unity. You and I being unified uni stands for one verse. The universe that's one song harmonized. I can feel it. It's almost spiritual.
It is, but then you also get that stark contrast, the isolation. Seems my whole life I've done it. Push them away.
Yeah, pushing people away.
But immediately followed by the desire, teach me how to love again. I'm ready and I'm opening my heart. It's that constant push and pull, wanting connection, but maybe being afraid of it too.
It's so relatable. For you, the learner, just navigating the world, dealing with people. These lyrics are kind of a mirror to those complexities, aren't they?
The need for connection, but also for self-awareness within it, yeah.
Okay, and this is where I think it gets really interesting. The artist grappling with creativity itself, with purpose, legacy.
It seems so central to who they are in I Am Hugh, saying he's not a man, not a poet, nothing more than an architect trying to keep my art intact.
An architect, I love that. Building something.
Exactly, and I was born to teach. I had to learn in me, look within. That sense of calling.
And that bold line, this is my world I built in my head, you just live in it. Talk about creative vision.
Right, and Amy Am I carries it forward. My voice remains forever. This is how I breathe. Inhale a beat and say peace. Art as lifeblood.
Wow. Inhale a beat.
And wanting that impact beyond just now. Ever be immortal? Yes, through universal my soul watch. Leaving something lasting.
That really speaks to purpose, doesn't it? For you, the learner, pursuing knowledge, maybe seeing this dedication to craft, this desire to leave a mark, maybe that's inspiring.
It definitely could be. Makes you think about the impact you want your efforts to have.
So, okay, wrapping this up a bit, what does it all mean for you, the learner? We've tracked these themes, right?
Yeah, this deep dive into self-discovery, reflections on time, regret, the struggle and resilience.
The absolute messiness and beauty of human connection.
And that powerful drive of creativity and finding purpose, they're all woven together.
And expressed with such raw honesty. It makes it all feel very grounded, very human.
Absolutely. It's a really unique window into some fundamental human stuff.
So thinking about all these reflections on inner worlds, time, resilience, connection, creativity, maybe the question for you, the learner, is what parts of your own inner deep dives might need exploring? Is there any, unlearning you need to do? Old perspectives to revisit as you keep learning?
It really highlights that value, doesn't it? Looking inward like the artist does to really grasp the world and your place in it.
Thank you so much for sharing these sources with us, the learner, and thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, hope it gave you some interesting food for thought.